No, I don't. Hi, y'all. It is Robin Reese with Between the Sheets podcast. And today I have a very special episode because I know that I be talking a lot of crazy stuff on here and I be having fun. I like to, give everybody what they want to hear, but then I also like to give everybody what they need to hear. So this episode is called The Successful Black Man. And before we get started, my producer is going to chime in because he is invited for this episode. So, Tom, you see what I mean? See what I mean?
Did you not just say successful black men? Am I not a black man that's working?
Yes.
Okay, then. So I'm working.
Okay. So Tone's working, but he's gonna chime in. And then I also have a very good friend of mine, Rico, here. Rico is here from out of town and he owed me a show actually. So I'm glad he's here. And I before we get started, I just want to tell him hats off. My friend was in a military for many years, 2 terms, right?
5 years.
5 years. Okay. So I just want to commend him because he's doing something that a lot of people are scared to do. It's not easy to get up there and defend our country, for something that we all believe in. And that's really, making sure that America is able to be great for those and, those that are here and those that are getting ready to come, in our future. So thank you. I'm going to let Rico get his contact information. But before we get started, well, we'll get started after that. So if
Yes,
you want them
ma'am.
to
Yes,
contact
ma'am.
you, you can let them contact you.
Y'all can contact me. I'm on Instagram, Rico Paid in Full One, Facebook, Zarek Rivers, and that's about it. I really don't do the social media like that.
Okay. And he is not available. I don't want his wife saying anything crazy to me.
Here we go. Here we go.
Was I not supposed to say that?
Uh,
No, I just want to be respectful, because if she watched the episode,
respect go a long way, man. Take
Yeah.
respect to get respect.
Yeah. So, okay. So I want you to give your experience with the military. If there's anything you want to highlight or anything you just want to say that was like, first of all, what made you sign up?
Man, to be honest with you, I just had a daughter, and I really had to think about it. Like, man, do I want to keep living in Milwaukee doing the same shit? Can I cuss?
Yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. But anyway, keep doing the same shit that my homies and them doing. Do I really want to be in a drug gang working a 9 to 5, working 2, 3 job dead end, or do I want to do something that's gonna elevate my family to the next level? So I chose the military, and the military was very successful for me. It's pros and cons to every job that you got. So don't, like I used to hear all the time before I went. Everybody was like, "You really gonna fight that white man's war?" And all that. Like, there was no war. I didn't get in no combat action. First off, I was chilling the whole time, sleeping, eating, doing what I want, and it panned out very nice for me. Like, I can't say the same. Everybody else situation is different from mine. Like, some people, shout out to the lost and all the fallen soldiers. I always tip my hat off to them because without them, it wouldn't be able to have no black people in the service. First off, and then secondly, look what it did for my family. It got me out of Milwaukee. So I'm very honored for that. And I tell anybody, if you want to go to the military is what you make of it. Don't just go based off somebody else, what you hear from them. But yeah, do it.
So now that you are done, do you feel like your opportunities are still the same as they presented themselves when you joined, or do you
To
still
be
feel like
honest,
you got a lot of chances to do a lot of different stuff?
the military, being in the service, it has its perks, the benefits. Yeah, I mean jobs. I ain't gonna really say. I ain't gonna really say that because a job. I mean, a job will look at you first before a regular civilian. Yeah, but it created opportunities.
Mhm.
Like,
Would
would you go?
So it's actually funny because I wanted to go to the Coast Guard,
Okay.
and then I wanted to actually be a army nurse. But
Army. I
yeah,
can see that. Okay.
so Tony, you said you see that?
I can see that for you.
Yeah, so I actually want to be an army nurse, but I have to be declared so many years without an asthma episode. So until
You
I
gotta
can,
lie. That's what people was doing. They was lying to get in the military.
oh, well, they
Yeah,
said
but you
that you
got
have to,
different. She got to get in. Asthma is different because she still got to go through basic training.
Yeah.
She gotta
And-
go through MEPS and stuff.
Yeah, so she don't. If she can't pass none of that, you
Yeah,
can't
'cause
lie
they
through
were-
that. You can lie about some other stuff.
Hell yeah, you can.
You can't
Yeah.
lie the asthma thing.
You get to passing out on that run.
yeah, because that's what they were saying. They said you have to complete a 2 hour, I mean, a 2 mile run without needing asthma medication. No, I didn't even attempt it.
You should have seen it. If you pass out, you pass out. Hey, get up.
But I do think that I'll end up doing a term as a trauma nurse because
Okay.
that'd be the closest thing I get to the military.
Okay, keep going.
So I don't know. But what did you like most? Like, I know you traveled a lot. If y'all see his page, he got some really, really like nice views of being all over. What was like the best place you was able to travel to?
Germany. That was my last term. I went to Germany for 3 years, and it was beautiful. I went to Italy, Poland, or Czech Republic. I've been all over Amsterdam. Yeah, nice. I tell anybody, go overseas. The food is way better.
It is.
Yes,
I wouldn't ever guess you would have said that.
it tastes fresh. It's way fresher over there. Like I don't know what they put in this shit. They trying to kill us.
Mm.
They Popeyes even fresh.
They got a Popeyes in Germany.
Well, yeah. Burger King, KFC, McDonald's even tastes fresh. They got a chicken box at McDonald's.
So you ready to get into the episode?
Come on, I'm waiting.
Okay.
on you.
So this episode is called "The Successful Black Man" for one reason only. It's just so many things I see happening to successful Black men, whether it's on a national level, local level. I feel like they take a lot of loss when it come down to certain things. And I just want to have a discussion about it. It's not a who's right, who's wrong. We all got different views on the subject, but it's something really dear to my heart because I have a Black son. I have had a Black father. I have Black uncles. I'm around Black men often. So it's really, really important that we encourage all Black men to do well. We want them to do well. We want them to succeed. We want them to elevate. And I feel like if we have this discussion, we can figure out maybe where it's all going wrong at, or maybe what we need to do better to make sure that we can continue the legacy of having successful Black men. Like, there's so many powerful Black men, in this world, and we just want to see them being able to reach that success and then be able to maintain it once they're there. So I know that it might be cliche for me to bring up P. Diddy and R. Kelly for the fact that they have whatever allegations against them that they have done so many wrongdoings to others. But I want to know, do you think that successful Black men are targeted?
Those
For
are
sus-
two of the
for-
worst examples to use for that question. Only because both of them did that shit. It's a difference.
But my thing is, if they did it, we don't know. We wasn't there. Why bring it up after so many years?
Okay, so the Diddy situation, the reason why I say he's a terrible example, because his injustices that have been coming against Diddy for years, over the course of the last 2 years, have resurfaced on their own. The Cassie situation resurfaced, which sparked the downfall of Diddy. And when the video came out, as well as people have been talking years about the Diddy parties and whatnot. And then, of course, the allegations that he is responsible for Tupac's death. And then the guy who was actually supposed to be the one who pulled the trigger saying, yo, it was a hit hired by Diddy. Diddy has a lot of limelight on him right now. So I won't sit here and say that there's an agenda, because that's what a lot of the conspiracies is. There's an agenda. There's no agenda. Diddy has put himself in this position, and he has been living the life he's been living for a very long time, that people who are affected by it are now stepping up and actually saying something. R. Kelly is a product of his own environment. Okay. He grew up during a time where it was okay for older men to pick up younger women, and no one looked or bat an eye at him because he's a successful black man on top of that, who makes great music, that has written for everybody for years upon years. So we let a lot of things slide, and a lot of people were protecting him. His money was protecting him. Those around him who was benefiting from his money was protecting him. It wasn't until society started looking at the circumstances of statutory rape as something we really need to worry about, because younger women being with an older man for financial reasons only is not right. Even though it's normal, it's not right. So a lot of things came down on him.
Okay, but the reason why I picked those two is because I believe that it's all systematic. If a black man is poor, we're going to give him drugs and guns, and we're going to put him in an area full of black people to utilize those drugs and guns so that they can crippleize the community. And then the same thing with once the black man becomes successful and has power, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to give him access to drugs, guns, whatever else, and then pull him down.
Okay, and I can't agree with that, because I grew up in what's deemed in Milwaukee as the worst zip code to grow up in. I know that there was drugs, guns, and violence around me. I went to what's now ranked as one of the worst high schools to be at, all within the same zip code. And I can sit in North Division, and I can sit here and I can show you multiple successful black men who never cross any of those lines. There is a capability of, yes, is drugs here? Yes, it is. But that doesn't mean we have to choose that avenue as how we get out of our circumstances and situations. Fast money creates fast results, which creates fast downfalls. So I can get out here and I can grind and I can get it in the mud and I can do it somewhat the right way, because doing it the right way will never succeed in this, the way the world is set up. So I give you that much. Systematically is made for black people to not be as easily successful as our white counterparts. But just because the option of drugs and scamming and robbing and all those things are there, doesn't mean we have to choose that. If someone sat here and chose to sell drugs and they've made millions of dollars off of it, and they choose to not stop selling drugs, eventually you're going to get caught. Every single story that is ever told in regards to drug dealers and their rise to fame will always end with their downfall, whether they got murdered or they're behind bars or they got robbed by the next up and coming person who's replacing them. So I could sell drugs for 2 weeks just to pay a bill and be done with it, but I'm not going to keep doing it just because I can get away with it. No.
So you saying as long as you get in and get out, then it's okay.
Yeah,
that's what you're supposed to do, but people don't want to. When you got out there and you sold your first 8-ball, it was just to get you started. You were supposed to have an end game. Most drug dealers don't have end games. They just want to sell drugs and keep stacking paper and live this rich, fast lifestyle because they don't want to go to school. They may not be educated enough to go to school, so I'm not going to say that's not the issue. They want to be the head of their household. They want to be the flashy. They want to be the man. Well, the man gets taken out eventually.
True.
Can't be the man forever.
Okay, but not even to that point. It's just the fact that even if you are a black man that is successful, once you reach a certain point, it seems like you cannot go any further.
How far do you want to go off of somebody else's back, though?
What do you mean?
If I decide to go work for this Fortune 500 company, am I trying to reach the top where I am running the company, or am I comfortable with where I'm at? See, because what happens is after I've learned everything I've learned from a particular company, it's my job to go and start my own company, because that's what the white people do. They go work for somebody long enough until they're able to go start their own. Lawyers don't stay at a firm forever. They go and they start their own firm. We choose to want to work until we get to 40, 50 years of being at a company and then get a pension and sit at home. We don't never want to go and create the next level of success. We go and we get jobs that are good for right now, but we never plan for jobs that are supposed to go forward.
But you know, that comes from people being scared of change.
Exactly.
Like me, like I wanted to change my environment and the people and the surroundings around me. Like I didn't want to sell drugs. I didn't want to get into that. My whole thing was traveling and making a better situation for myself and my family, and that's what I did. That's why I went to the military, and look how it turned out.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask both of y'all a question right now. Right now, let's say you didn't have a dollar to your name,
Mhm.
and somebody came to you and said, I will help you get rich, but you have to follow these rules. Now, let's just say you get to that point to where you have achieved what you need for you to be happy or successful. And then that person feel like you're not abiding by their rules, and then they give you more rules to follow because they have helped you. And then that's when they start to take you down. It's still envy, jealousy, or
Why?
hate,
But
just
that
on a
comes with
bigger
the
level.
that comes
But
with the
see, that's what
territory.
I'm saying. If you came to me and said I can help you get rich, I can guarantee you that they're getting rich off of me too. They're not just giving me free game; they're benefiting from what I'm doing too. So if I choose to say, okay, I've gotten what I need to do, I'm done. First of all, that's my fault for not letting them know that I'm only into this for a short term, not a long term. So that's my fault for letting them know, like, hey man, I'm only doing this for about a year and I'm done. Give them If you let them know in advance that you're only doing this for a year and I'm done, they're going to work with that year because they know they're going to get their money out of me for that year and they're going to plan their exit plan of who's going to replace me. That's why a lot of jobs, if you ever pay attention, if you tell a job I'm only going to be here for so long and I'm quitting, they say, well, give me a 2 week notice because they want to be able to replace you to keep the machine going. But when you quit at that moment, yes, they get mad at you. They put you didn't let us know. We couldn't prepare for being down one man. So that's why if you want to come back to the job, they tell you no. They'll penalize you saying, oh, you can't come back because you didn't give us the proper 2 weeks notice because you didn't let them prepare. But if I left, I don't plan on coming back. So if you show me these simple rules you gave me to get rich, I'm taking them rules and I'm learning them rules and I'm instilling them rules and I'm teaching somebody else these rules too. Because just like how you made money off of me because you taught me something, I'm going to do the next thing too. But that way, when I decide to quit, I don't have to keep doing this job because these 3 to 4 to 5 people who I taught how to do this, they're paying me. So now I'm getting the same amount of money that I was getting working for you, doing absolutely nothing.
But if everybody thought that you were replaceable when that time came, don't you think that they would let you go instead of tearing you down? Because I only believe that all of these black men that are suffering something at the hands of a billionaire business or a company or a franchise or dealings with the wrong people only suffer when they are trying to leave.
It's
If it was a million of me and people were able to replace me with something better, do you think that I would have the same outcome with total failure at the end of everything that I done worked hard for?
You want to know why they do that?
Why?
Because by you leaving, you're leaving to become competition. You're not leaving because you're done. 9 times out of 10, most people who leave a company like that and you learned everything from, let's take a law firm for an example. A lawyer who leaves a law firm to go start his own law firm is probably targeting the same clients that they once had because you learned everything. You learned your practice of law from this. So 9 times out of 10, your specialty is the same type of law that the company you just left is up against. I don't want to lose my clientele to you. So I'm not going to sit here and naturally mudsling on you, but I'm going to let them know like, hey, he left because he didn't fit with us. We had to make maneuvers. So yes, I can still replace you, but I'm not going to let my clients go to you. I'm losing money. You got to go build your own portfolio. So I can see why a law firm may not be favorable by that lawyer leaving because he's going to take clients with them. But now, if you built up your own portfolio, it's like, well, these 15 clients are mine. So I'm going to leave my portfolio I built with y'all, and I'm going to go over here and start my own thing. Now we have a partnership because I'm not competition anymore. When you leave, when you're successful to go do your own thing, 9 times out of 10, you're going to compete against who you were.
So, but at what point do you figure out that the partnership is no longer feasible for you? And when you leave, how do you leave amicably, or how do you leave without a problem?
The question is are you leaving because you no longer are feeling valued, or are you leaving because you didn't hit the ceiling that you wanted to hit? Because if you left because you didn't feel valued, letting them know you didn't feel valued and allowing them the opportunity to correct that, then that's different. Like if I say, hey, I've been bringing in these clients and I increased y'all profit margins by 42%, and I don't feel valued. What can y'all do to make me feel valued? I'm allowing the company the opportunity to correct their wrongs. And if they choose to not correct it, or even if they only give me a pen and 2 extra days off, then no, I'm moving around. I was like, well, I asked y'all to do something for me. It didn't meet what, would have made me feel happy. So I'm going to choose to go off on my own. I allowed them to right their wrongs, and they chose not to. But if you just up and left, it was like, I can't do nothing else here. Y'all ain't helping me do nothing else here. I'm out. Then, yeah, now we're going to feel a type of way. Oh, you just came in here to use us. So it's all about that communication. All you got to do is have a conversation. Let them know how you feel. Some companies may treat you like a number, but they still want to know.
Okay, so since you said that and you made it sound so good, do you think that Black men are in control of their own success then?
Technically, they are. They just don't say nothing.
How?
Because people don't say nothing. Because say you've been working at a company 5 years and you only get one raise out of 5 years, you could have said something that whole time. Most people don't even, they just keep working, don't say nothing, accept the pay. Me, you got to know your value.
I know, but are they in control of their own success? If they they try to branch off and be not partner in partnership, be sole proprietor, be an LLC within their own business, are they able to be successful on their own? Are they in control of that, and how? Without being a target.
If you are bringing to them, okay, so let's say I work at this company and I want to be better. I want to give it. I'll give you an example. Whenever I start a job, I spend the first 6 months of learning the job. Then I go to my management team, or even above my management team, just to be on the safe side. And I will say, what do I need to do to be in this position? What do I need? Because if you go to the boss above your current boss and ask what you need to do to be in your boss's spot, they'll tell you. But if you go and you ask them, what do I need to do to be in your spot? They're not going to tell you. So you go above and you ask below. I'll go and say, hey, what do I need to do to be an assistant manager here? I'll go to my manager and ask about an assistant manager. I bring to them the black and white. So I bring to them all the proof and evidence of what I've done this particular 6 months. So now they got a snapshot of what I've done. They can see, oh, well, based on what you're looking like, man, you got your numbers good. So if you just keep doing this and come back to us at this time, and we'll, when this opens up, we'll have that conversation. Now they know that I'm interested in being more to the company. If you present yourself as an asset early, they'll always look at you as something of value. And they'll want you to be something that's going to grow and bring it. But if I come in there and I'm late to work every day and I'm half-assing my job and I'm getting reports every once in a while that a customer is unhappy because of whatever I've done, and then I try to come to them about being an assistant manager, they're going to first ask me, are you serious? Because if you just coming to them just because you want more pay, you're not serious about this job. Because the minute I teach you how to be an assistant manager and you got these skills, you're going to leave my job and take those skills to somewhere else because you're pursuing the money. You're not investing into the company. And a lot of people, especially our black folks, they're not there to invest into that company. They're just there to make money. And they're going to always leave a company to go to where the most money that they can get at, because we only think about our current problems. Not realizing that if you speak to the company that you are and you find the path that you need to take to become successful in that company, that money will come naturally. I know a lot of companies where they see that I've invested in, and the starting pay may have been $22. But then they look at my resume and they ask me questions. I was like, well, I can do A, B, C, D too. So since I can do this and I can do that, can we get 25? Because I'm an asset to the company at this point. When you need someone to do the fraud side or do the bankruptcy side, or you need someone to run this over here, technically you're getting that out of me. Oh, okay. I can give you $3 more now for something that you could probably help us out with later instead of hiring somebody else for 22 to do that other role. So I'm technically saving the company money, but I'm also protecting myself because if this department shuts down, guess what? I can go to that department, that department, that department. I can find my way to stay here even longer. A lot of us don't do that. We'll come in, we do the job we do, we clock out at 6 o'clock, we go home, and that's all we care about. So when we only get a 20-cent raise, we're upset because we think the company don't value us. Well, you don't know what you can do besides what you applied for. A lot of us don't have those extra conversations that's needed. Every job I go to, I always get $2 more than whatever they're offering because I let them know I can do way more than what I applied for. I only apply for this job because I know I can get in with this one, but I can do this whole job if I want to. That's what we don't do.
So, okay. So do you think that black men will experience more hate from black on black crime than having issues with a white person?
I'm gonna let him answer that first. I talk a lot.
You said
So do you think that black men have more issues with black on black crime because we've seen the whole young Dolph case play out? Do you think that black men experience more issues with black on black crime than a white person? Like having issues with a white person?
yes. And the reason why I say yes, well, really, yeah, because the black man, all we do is tear each other down. We don't try to help each other. Like when we get information, some people they be trying to hold on to the information and stuff, and I just don't understand that. And now we living in a world where everybody wants you to pay for the information. Okay, that's cool, but yeah, we always tearing each other down, and it just makes no sense, and I hate that. That's terrible. Like with the dog situation, like little dog wanted to be on, and him and somebody else, he ain't even no dude like that. He just knew him from the hood, and they for 50 bands. What was it, 50,000?
Some 40,000.
40.
But
And
they got $800 up front.
From that. Like you failed. You failed twice. You failed because you killed the black man who was successful, and then you failed because now you gone for the rest of your life. Your career ain't going nowhere.
Tone.
Yes, we are always our own worst enemy. Nobody in the black, well, I ain't gonna say nobody. A lot of times in the black community, we don't like to see somebody else who came from where we came from be successful when we're not. If I lived on 10th and Monarchy and the person across the street from me decided to go sell drugs and ended up being behind bars, but instead I turned around and opened up the biggest rap label in the community, and I didn't come get him out of jail, or I didn't put nothing on his books because we grew up for 15 years, he's not gonna be happy. He's gonna hate on me. He's gonna blame me for not coming back to get him. He's gonna be mad at us. Whereas in this white person who I may have met while trying to create my record label may want to get on board, and I tell him, nah, bro, I don't want you on board. No, he's gonna do is probably tell a couple of his friends who run radio stations, don't play songs for me. He's not going to stop my business from growing. He's just going to put a roadblock in front of it. White folks has no problem with us as long as we don't create problems for their money. If you keep it a buck, white folks will never really not want black folks to be a part of anything if money is not affected. I can move into an all white neighborhood, and as long as I'm not bringing down the property value by doing ignorant things in my neighborhood, they don't care I live there. But if I come over there and I'm bringing ruffians and the police have to come out all the time, or I'm putting stuff that's violating the HOA or whatnot, then yeah, they're going to have a problem with me then.
That's devaluing the community.
That's devaluing the community. And by me devaluing the community, guess what's happening? The value of their homes are going down. And a lot of white folks live off the value of their homes. So if I'm bringing down the value of the homes, I'm a problem. But I'm not looking at it. I'm thinking, oh, these white folks just hating on me. No, bro, there's rules and regulations of different places that you're supposed to be in. Learn the rules and regulations. They don't hate us. They just don't want us to fuck with their money.
Are you sure they don't hate us though?
They don't hate us.
How?
Okay. The generation of old racist white folks are almost dead. They're almost dead. There are too many white folks that love black culture. Too many white folks that love black culture. They despise the way we behave. They despise the fact that we take things for granted. They swear up and down we throw away opportunities. But at the same time, a lot of them are also ignorant to our perspective of the world. But once you sit down and have a conversation with somebody and help them understand your perspective and the way the world looks on this side of the coin, a lot of them just want us to stop using that as an excuse. They don't.
Why you think they dress? Why you think they dress like us?
Yeah.
Use our slang. Come on now.
Yeah.
So who's responsible now for bringing this stuff into our kids? Because now we all have kids that are in the streets and doing wrong. Now, how are they getting access to everything if white people aren't?
What makes you think they ever left the community? So when you say getting access to stuff, like what are you talking about?
Drugs and guns.
You think drugs and
Because
guns
it had to start from somewhere.
But that doesn't mean it left. Just because Ricky got locked up doesn't mean that the gun he used to hold left too. Just because Johnny stopped selling drugs don't mean that drugs didn't stop coming into the community. You have to also look at how drugs are changing now. And there's nobody out. I'm not gonna say there's nobody out here. The usage of heroin and cocaine is not that high in the black community. We are heavy weed people users and fentanyl and perks. We're doing prescription medications. Prescription drugs that are being handed out to our grandparents and our parents that kids are now turning around stealing out the medicine cabinet.
Liquid codeine.
And then the whole entire creating the codeine situation. Dirty Sprites are not anything illegal. Somebody went to the corner store, bought some NyQuil, bought some Sprites, mixed it together, and that's the new drug. Nobody is doing the street pharmaceutical drugs like that anymore. Everything is prescription medication that's being utilized. And yes, white folks and black folks together are pushing fentanyl all over the place. It's not just only a systematic thing. We're doing it too.
I know, but what I'm saying is this is how it was introduced. So how could they not hate black people if this is something that is still plaguing our future now? We didn't plant the idea, just like we didn't plant the idea to be here.
Here's the thing.
Trump.
Here's the thing. You are looking at it from a perspective that only black folks are being affected by these things that you're bringing up. Everybody is being affected by them. You only are seeing it because you're only around black folks. You don't think white folks are not out here having issues with the drugs and guns?
No. I be around all kind of people.
Like I know you're a nurse, so you see a lot of things.
Okay, so I be around all kind of people. I'm speaking on the black man because it's still a lot of families without active men in the household.
That is a universal problem for the black community because it's a problem that started and it trickled down. When black men got taken out the household in the 70s and the 80s, the kids that they created, because take in consideration, sex creates babies. We have a lot of us who have young sex. We have unprotected sex. We shoot up the club with no problems. We get into lustful situations without establishing relationship or boundaries. I can tell you for a fact, I know several people who within 1 week of just knowing you already busting it open. And if a kid is created out that scenario, you expect that to be a happy home. You don't even know this dude. You don't know his medical issues. You don't even know if he's single or not. You just know that you met him, you liked him, and a week later you fucked him, and now you pregnant. Then, because you don't know him, you didn't get a chance to grow and understand him. But the first thing you want to do is you put him on child support, and you expect for them to be a male in the household.
And yet again, this is another issue of why I say, okay, so just like I said, the drugs and the guns, now we have children that are fatherless. These are all systems that are set in place by non-black people.
No, it's not.
Create a diversion in the black community. How's it not?
Hold on, because that is something that could be taught at home. Okay, I have 2 girls. Okay, now my kids is not out here engaging in sexual activities yet because they're not old enough. Praise white Jesus. But when they get to that point, I'm still going to have those conversations and those representations with them and have those talks with them about how important it is to establish relationships and boundaries, conversations that a lot of us didn't have. Do you remember having the conversation with the birds and the bees with your parents?
No, I don't
exactly.
remember.
So nobody sat down with us when we were younger.
I had a conversation. I don't remember With the conversation that
But
was
did you
many
have
years
it?
ago.
But you had it after you probably had sex, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because a lot of us do.
I had it when I was being accused. I hadn't at that point. I hadn't
Right,
done
you got
anything yet.
accused before you had. But what it is, a lot of us have never had that conversation. A lot of people didn't sit down and have the conversation with who was our parental figures to tell us about relationships, sex, boundaries, expectations, having a whole entire conversation about what a relationship should look like. We only got told, don't be letting them fast tail boys get between your legs, and that was it. That was all the conversation was in the black community. We wasn't having the conversations about you're supposed to respect yourself and not allow yourself to get caught up in these situations. If a boy is trying to push you to have sex, that's probably a boy you shouldn't deal with. We were not getting those kind of conversations. A lot of us found out about sex and exploring about sex by us just doing it with girls who we shouldn't have been doing it with.
That's
And
true.
taking consideration when we were younger, there was no social media or no photos to expose people when they got caught being too damn freaky. That's out here now. Now they got more access to sex ever than before. We had to sneak to look at magazines, and hopefully Pops had some videotapes to even see what fucking was. Now I can just click on anywhere. I can go on fucking Twitter and see what it is.
Twitter X.
Right.
Okay,
So
okay,
now sex is
I
exposed a
just
whole
want to.
lot
I just want
more.
to make a quick pit stop here. So you mean to tell me that when you first did it, you do it with a woman that was more sexually advanced than you? I want both of y'all to
Not
answer.
me. Nah. When I lost my virginity, I was 12. And it was to a girl. We was the same age.
Okay, but did she know what she was doing?
She's
No,
12. I
she's
hope she
12.
didn't.
Neither one of us know what we were
What the
doing.
hell? I hope she didn't. I hope she didn't. I hope she 12 and you know what you doing is
Man.
nasty work.
Man, what? I'll be disturbed. Like, how you this advanced?
But that's how men ain't that's how men get experience by being with a woman that's experienced.
Not everybody's situation different.
Let me.
What about your situation?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
You don't remember. Everybody remember their first time. Come on now, stop playing. Everybody remember their first time. It was either good or bad.
I had a couple first times.
You had a couple
one.
first.
But but see the point there was the fact that we didn't know what sex was. So when you get the consequences of you're pregnant, we only was told two options. Either you're getting an abortion or you having it. And then we're not told anything else after that. You're just supposed to raise this kid. So when you have these situations where everybody is under the age of 18 and children are being produced, you're expecting that boy to know how to be a father in that moment. He's supposed to get out and do things that a dad is supposed to do when he's still learning how to be a man to begin with. Like I always bring up the situation that my dad, my actual birth father, literally was a father of two by 19. He had two kids 7 months apart at the age of 19. I could not have expected him to grow up and be a phenomenal dad when at the age of 19, you just walked across the stage of high school not too long ago. So I don't expect for you to be able to be a great dad at 19, dealing with two different women with two different personalities at the exact same time. Now, I know for a fact, without even knowing who was who, you had to been dating one of them and you had to been fucking one of them. So you got two women who are probably upset at what just transpired here. And now everybody has to learn how to be parents. So somebody is not going to have an active father, unfortunately. So with all these different things going on simultaneously, it's going to cause a breakdown. We don't have that in the black community. We don't have those standards set aside right away. I'll give you an example. My cousin was dating a white chick when he was in high school, and they was messing around. He got her pregnant. The minute she found out that he was pregnant, guess what happened? They immediately made my cousin move in with them for the growth process. So as the child was being conceived and raised in the whole 9 yards, he was living in the family. They made him part of the family. So he had no choice but to be a dad in that initial situation. You know what we do? You get pregnant, you get out my house.
Okay, so do you think that W-2 created barriers for the black men to be successful?
In the family household, yes.
Well, or for government assistance?
Yeah, of course. Because if you ever look at the rules and regulations, that you cannot, you have to have a certain income in order to still qualify for this, right? So if I come in, if we both live in the house, I got to put my name on the lease. I got to put my income on there. You got to have all these different things. And the minute I make money, we no longer qualify. But because the perks and benefits will outweigh anything that my financials will put in and pay out of, a lot of times y'all will keep them out the household simply because it works best for y'all to not have them there. Or they have to live and then leave every single time it's time for inspections to come through.
They don't want to mess with their benefit.
You know what I'm saying? Like, daycare is expensive as fuck. That benefit alone causes a lot of y'all to kick the man out the house, keep him out the relationship, because daycare costs almost $700 a week.
I got a question. Why do y'all women want the state to take care of y'all?
I don't. I've had a job for so long.
But that's a whole nother conversation.
How's it a whole nother conversation?
That's a whole conversation within itself. That's a whole show by itself.
What?
And then the fact that
W-2?
the fact that you're not on it, and
so
neither one of us.
Who's on it?
I didn't say you got to date somebody on it, but it'd be best if you have somebody who benefits from government assistance to be a guest to speak on their experience with it, because we may have it all wrong. It may be very restrictive. It may suck. It may make things worse. They probably can't do what they need to do in regards to it. But we just know that there's so many benefits that can benefit women that we instantly look at W-2s as being something bad. So unless I say bring a guest on who is on it and benefit from it, so they can give an honest perspective. There's a lot of women who put their men on child support who don't want to, but because they go and try to get assistance like food stamps or daycare, the system automatically puts that man on child support. And that's another problem. When child support sometimes hits men in their finances, it hurts them to the point where it's like
they don't want to work no more.
Losing their license.
Right. It's like you take $600 out of my check every month, but then I find out that you only giving her $300. I'm still being hurt because you're taking money and you're keeping it. Or I didn't even know I was getting put on child support because we have an understanding and we're working things together. And all of a sudden you done took my whole check because you say I owe back child support. So what is going on here? But because a lot of people don't understand how that works, there's a lot of misconception that leads to a lot of angers towards each other. That's not necessary.
Okay, well, before we wrap it up here, I do just have one more question. I want to know, because I always want to end my shows on a lighter note. I want to know, what do you both think that we can do to make sure that black men are uplifting each other, or what could women do to support the black men?
Let him go first.
We both got to be there for one another. The black woman has to be there for the black man. The black man has to be there for the black woman. Like I tell anybody, 2 incomes is better than 1. 2 heads is better than 1. Because where I lack at, she picks up on. Where she lacks at, I pick up on. Like, you just gotta motivate one another. Like, people don't do that in relationships. I feel like that. Like, people just be in it for self. And that's why a lot of relationships don't last a long time, because the next person feels like, oh, he's not motivating me, or she's not motivating me, and it just causes chaos, and it should.
Tom?
He basically said what I was going to say.
Okay. Well, I agree. I do think that it's very important to be who you want in a relationship that your partner should want, in return. So if I'm gonna support you, you need to support me. If I'm gonna be there for you, you need to be there for me. If I'm gonna love you, you need to love me. So I definitely can agree that we both have to be on the same page for this boat to keep floating, or whatever.
Yeah,
Keep this car rolling. All right, so I'm gonna thank my friend again for coming. I know it was last minute. I'm glad that you were able to come through. I'm glad I was able to stop you. I do want you to come back so we could go a little further into your military experience, because I know a lot of young men that are contemplating whether that should be an alternative for them instead of just going straight into college after high school. So I do want to, spread my resources as much as I can. So I do want you to come back whenever you're back in Milwaukee. Tom, thank you for your commentary. You know, you always have a enlightening perspective on everything I have to say. So, the little back and forth, people like to see that at some point. So,
It would have been more if my homie would have been here. But you didn't.
anywho, that's some behind the scenes extra stuff that I have to talk to you about at another time. But if you want to leave your contact information, you can again. If not, that's fine.
Oh, follow me on Rico Paid in Full. That's my IG, and my Facebook is Zeric Rivers.
All right, Milwaukee. Thank you. Until next time.